Hi everybody, hope your preparation for the final exam is going well. Let's continue our revision series. We are revising the topics from unit number 2. So in today's video, we are gonna understand data handling. Alright then, without further delay, let's get started. Here is the outline of today's video. First of all, we will try to understand different data types available in Python. Then here is the important property related to data type, that is mutability and immutability. Followed by that, we are gonna explore different types of operators. Then we will get an idea of different functionalities available in 3 modules. And at last, we will know what are different types of errors. So let's start with data types. What are data types? It will tell us which type of data we are dealing with. In Python, here is the first one, number data type. Second is boolean. Third is none. And fourth is the collection data type, in which we will have string, list, tuple, dictionary and set. Have a look at the number data type. It is categorized into 3 types. First is integer, second is float and third is the complex numbers. We know already what is integer. It is a value without decimal point. It will be whole numbers. It can be negative or positive. Here are some of the examples of integer type. If you want to store decimal value like price, temperature, percentage, then we can go ahead with floating point numbers. It is generally called as float. In 2 different ways we can represent the floating point number. First is fractional form. This is the general form we use. And the second is exponent form. Look at some of the examples. The third number data type is complex number. It is of the form of a plus bi. We have studied this also in maths. But in Python, instead of y, we will be writing j. Here a is real part and b is imaginary part. Using these 2 properties, we can find out the same. So that was number data type. This is the second data type, boolean. Look at this example. I want to store true or false. This is nothing but boolean data type. There are 2, true and false. Moving ahead to the third data type, that is none. It indicates the absence of value. None is a keyword. Generally, we use to initialize value to a variable. If you don't have any idea what to store now, then you can assign none. Later, you can change it if you wish to. Proceeding to the next category of data type, that is nothing but collection. In collection data type, we are going to study string, list, tuple, dictionary and set. All these 5 data types we are going to study in depth. But let's have a short tour of it. What is string? It's a sequence of characters. This we generally used if you want to store name, address, city, state. Keep this one property of string in mind. It is immutable. Immutable means we cannot change the content in place. If you will try to change it, you will get new memory location. Here we have list from the collection data type. List is a collection of elements which are separated by comma and enclosed in a square bracket. It allows mixed data type. String is immutable but list is mutable. We can change the content in place. Third collection data type is tuple. It is similar to list but we enclose the elements in the parenthesis. Tuple is not exactly same as list. It is different because it is immutable. It means we cannot change the content in place. Moving ahead to dictionary. It is also a collection of elements but we store the elements in the curly brackets, that too in the form of key value pair. Keep this in mind, dictionary is mutable. We can change the content in place. Finally, here is the fifth data type from the collection. It is also a collection of elements enclosed in a curly bracket. Don't get confused. We enclose dictionary elements also in the curly bracket. But here we have elements. It can be mixed, but the important property is it is unordered. It means we don't know the order in which we will get the elements. This data type represents exactly set in maths. It doesn't allow duplicate elements. Important property, set is mutable. Alright, moving ahead to the important concept, mutability and immutability. While discussing the data type, we have noted down whether it is immutable or mutable. But what is it? First, look at the immutable data types. Number and boolean is also immutable. Along with that, we have string and tuples. Look at the simple example to understand the concept of immutability. 10 is assigned to x. In Python, we know that X is a named label. So it is pointing to this memory block which has the following address. Now we are trying to assign some other value to the same variable. Now look at the address. It is changed. Means we cannot change the content in place. If we are changing, we are creating a new memory location. That is the concept of immutable data type. We cannot change the content in place. Hope you understood this concept. Now let's proceed to mutable type. What is mutability? Mutability means we can change the content in place at the same memory location. As we discussed, here are the mutable types: list, dictionary and set. Now consider one list. Now in the next example, I am trying to add one value and initializing again to the same variable. Will it change at the same memory location? Yes, because this is mutable. You will not get new memory location. If you will print the address with the id function, you will get same for both. Alright, with that concept, moving ahead to the next topic, operators. What are operators? They take some action. On what? On the operand. So here are the 6 different categories of operators. Let's look at the first one, arithmetic operators. We are using these operators for the mathematical operations. We are familiar with plus, minus, multiplication, but let's discuss these 4 in detail. The fourth one is division operator. When we divide, note down, we get the result in the form of float. In Python, there is one more variation for the division operator. It is called as floor division. What it does, it will truncate the fractional part and will get the result in the form of integer. But if any one of the operand is float, then we will get answer as float itself. Okay, that was about division and floor division. We have modulus operator which gives remainder. And with the exponentiation, we can calculate the power. Alright, if you want to check the functionality of all the operators, make sure to write a simple program like this. The second category of operator is relational operator. It gives the result in the form of true or false. We generally use these operators with conditional statements because it compares two values and gives the result in the form of true or false. There are 6 relational operators. Don't forget to check the functionality using simple example. 10 is greater than 5, yes. 10 is greater than or equal to 5, yes, it is greater, that's why true. One of the condition is getting true, that's why true. 10 is less than 5, no, we got false. 10 is less than equals to 5, no, then we got false. 10 is equals to 5, no, we got false. 10 is not equals to 5, yes, both are not equal, that's why we got true. Here is the example which demonstrates the usage of operators. We will be using along with conditional statements. Logical operator is the third category. It is used to combine 2 or more relational expressions. These 2 are binary operators but not is a unary operator. It will get applied on a single expression. Look at this example. We want to combine 2 different relational expressions. Then with the help of OR operator we can do this. This is the first expression and here is the second expression. Hope you know the working of this logical operator. AND says if both the inputs are true, then only the output will be true. Whereas OR says if any one input is true, then the output will be true. Then what about this not? Not negates the value. If not of true you will write, you will get false. And not of false will be true. In this example, we want that both the conditions should be true because nationality should be Indian and the age should be greater than or equal to 18. Then only you are eligible to cast vote. That's why we have used the AND. Because in case of AND, if both the inputs are true, then only we will get the output as true. Otherwise false. If you want to practice programs based on these functionalities, we have already video on that in which we have covered total 10 programs. So make sure to check it out. Moving ahead to the membership operator. It also gives the result in the form of true or false. It will check the membership of the variable in the given collection. This operator also used with conditional statement. Look at this example. We are trying to find out whether A is present in the list or not. The reverse of it is not in. Look at one simple example. To demonstrate we want to search an element in the list. Here is one list and we want to search the element 20. For that we are using conditional statement if. If this search element in the list, if it is present, it will give true. If not, we will get false. 20 is present in the list. That's why we will get the output as found. In this way, we use this membership operator to check the membership of the values in the collection. What's the next category? Identity operators. It will check the reference of the variables. Look at this example. Here are two variables. Two different values are getting assigned to it. And using is, we are checking the memory location of both the variables. If the location is different, we will get false. If the location is same, we will get true. How we will get the location? You can check it with id function. Here is the memory reference of A and here is the memory reference of B. Just check out the last 3 digits. It is different. That's why we got false. Because in A we are storing the value 10, it is some other memory location than B because we are storing 20 in it. But when we want to store same value in both the variables, then what happens? In X, 5 is getting stored and Y is also initialized the same value. Then Python will save the memory. Instead of creating a different location, Y also will point the same memory location. That's why the memory location are same. We are getting the same address. So we got the answer as true because memory references are same. This is the use of is operator. It will check the memory locations. Here is the next category, bitwise operator. It works on bits. Bitwise AND is just like logical AND. Bitwise OR is just like logical OR. And bitwise complement is just like logical NOT. But there are other operators too. It works on the bits. We rarely use this, so we can skip it. There is one more category. It is called as arithmetic assignment operator. It is sometimes called as augmented operator or shorthand operators. It combines arithmetic and assignment operator. For all the arithmetic operators, we have this shorthand. How we use this? If we write x plus equals to y, it means we are adding the value of y to the x. In the same way, other operators also works. It's a shortcut way to write this statement. If we are discussing operators, we should also know what is operator precedence and operator associativity. All the operators assign some precedence. Based on that, it will get evaluated in the expression. So look at this table. Parenthesis has the highest priority followed by exponentiation. Then these arithmetic operators will get evaluated followed by these two. We already know the maths BODMAS rule. It is just like that. After arithmetic operators, relational operators will get evaluated followed by logical operator. In that also, NOT will get evaluated first followed by AND then OR. So to keep this sequence, we can keep one mnemonic in mind, Perl. Parenthesis, exponentiation, arithmetic operators, relational and logical. Just like maths, multiplication and division will get evaluated first followed by plus and minus. And for 3 logical operators, keep this mnemonic in mind, NOT, AND, OR. It is very important because in class 12 generally you get an expression where you need to evaluate it. Alright, we understood precedence. Then what is associativity? If in any expression you have the operators of the same level, that too more than once, then how it will get evaluated? Generally all the operators will get evaluated from left to right except exponentiation. It gets evaluated from right to left. This is called as associativity. So if you get expression like this, how it will get evaluated? We will evaluate from right to left because exponentiation operator evaluates from right to left. In the next topic, we need to explore these 3 modules. I will create a separate video for this. It will be better. Then let's move ahead. We will discuss types of error. There are 3 types of error: compile time, logical errors, runtime errors. Compile time error again divided into 2 types: syntax and semantic error. What is error? It's an illegal operation. From the name itself, we will understand what is compile time error. The errors which will generate at the time of compilation. What is compilation? Let's try to understand. Whenever we write program, it will be in the high level, right? Now compiler will convert it to the machine level language. But that machine level language will get execute and then we will get the final output. So there are two steps. At the time of compilation, syntax will get checked. If syntax is wrong, we will get the syntax error. So look at this now. This is syntax error when the rule of the programming will get violated. Means the syntax is not right. If we take this example, I am missing here colon. Syntax is wrong. That's why we will get syntax error. There is one more error during compilation we may get. It is semantic error. This will occur when the statements are not meaningful. It means again we are not following the syntax. Look at this example. A into B equals to C we are writing. Generally expression should be on the right hand side and on the left hand side we write the variables. So that was about the compile time errors. There is one more error. It is called as logical error. Syntax will be correct but the logic will be wrong. Then you will get the incorrect result. Look at this example. I want addition of two numbers but instead of writing plus, I am writing minus. Then what will happen? We will get the subtraction, not the addition. It is logical error. Here comes the next, that is runtime error. Program first will get compiled by the compiler and machine code will get generated. Then machine code will get executed and will get the final output. So this execution part is also called as runtime. Syntax will be correct but still at the time of execution you may get the error. That is called as runtime error. What will happen? Our program will crash down. It will terminate abruptly. So what's the solution? Programmer has to take care. The another name for the runtime error is exception. We will study this exception handling in detail in class 12. But let's take out the short tour of it. So we understood what is exception. It's a runtime error. At the time of execution, you will get it. It's an unexpected event, right? For that, look at one simple example. We are entering the first number, entering the second number, then we are trying to divide and we are printing the result. If I will enter 50 as a first number, second number will be 5. Then what will be the result? I will get 10. But in the second run, let's imagine I am entering 50 as a first number and second number will be 0. Then what will be the output? Now your program will crash and you will get exception. Why? Because computer doesn't know what to do with this 50 divided by 0. In maths also we have understood that it is an infinity. But computer doesn't understand what is infinity. That's why it will give error. So look at the output. It is giving 0 division error. It is the name of the exception. And here is the description for the same. In Python there are lot of built-in exception. Here I am trying to import the wrong module. That's why I got module not found error. Here we are printing one variable z which is not created. So we got name error. For the number data type I am trying to use this method append which doesn't exist. That's why attribute error. So these are the different types of exception. Don't worry, in class 12 we will study in detail. For now just look at this table. Here are different types of errors. Not only these, there are some more exceptions. With the hope that you could revise all the topics, let's wind up today's video. If you have any doubt, feel free to drop them in the comments. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. In the next video, we will revise flow of control. So until next time, stay confident, keep practicing. I will see you in the next video.